Q1, dipping our toes in. This was a very important stage for us because it laid out the plan of where we wanted to go. This is where we crunched the numbers, we did the market research, and began to really manifest the dream of the social producers. There were 3 major projects that we wanted to complete by the end of this quarter: business planning, business hygiene, and equipment. Let's start with business planning. So what did we do? Well, I own about half a dozen books on creating a business plan. I also have countless articles that I've saved and printed online. I used a template that came with one of these books, and I feel it was a great base to start from. How did we track? Well, it was finished, but this was definitely one of the easier steps because I've done plenty of these in my previous roles. I also had most of the information ready and in the hopper, and I was prepared to quickly articulate a cohesive document. What did we learn? Well, not starting from absolute scratch at this stage really helped a lot. Templates definitely made things easier, but keep in mind, it was a guide, not a gospel, and we needed to have room to be agile and adaptive. Curveballs, were there any? Well, there was already a lot of work done at this stage, so there really weren't too many curveballs when creating the business plan. The second major project to complete by the end of Q1 was to address business hygiene. Now, if you're like me and you've spent most of your life in a salary job, there are some basic tasks to complete when starting your own business. What did we do? I read every blog and every government website that I could find that was related to starting a new business. But I also made it a point to speak to at least 10 people that I knew who were in business for self, and I got their thoughts and their counsel. Plus, I spoke with my accountant at length. I got advice from a lawyer. All in all, the following to-dos were identified. Get an accountant. Get articles of incorporation. Register your business. Get business banking accounts and checks. Get a business-only credit card, get bookkeeping software, get a tax number, get a WSIB application, get insurance, choose a brand name, print business cards, and finally obtain a dedicated phone number. How did we track? Overall, about 75% was achieved. We decided that insurance and HST could wait until a later date to complete. What did we learn? The upfront costs and work made this whole endeavor real, and it brought it out of the imagination stage. There were plenty of resources available for new businesses to start. And another thing was printing business cards was ridiculously satisfying. And any curveballs here? Domain availability required a pivot on our brand name. Socialproducers.com, believe it or not, was actually the 4th brand name that we had looked at. It was due in large part to counsel from a very smart friend of mine. The final major project to complete in Q1 was equipment purchase. We're a video company now, but at this stage, we also offered social media marketing. Now, I had some of my own equipment because video production is something I've done on the side for years, but stepping into the full-time space required the purchase of much more equipment. Plus, we needed office furniture and even supplies like staples and Post-it notes. Now, what did we do? Lots and lots of Excel lists, sheets with budgets, forecasts, and priority indicators. The major files that we needed to get this far were for production equipment that was needed, office equipment that was needed, and office supplies that were needed. Now, I like matrices, so I built more than a few. What did I need? What did I want? And I cross-referenced that with at least 3 pricing options, 2 e-commerce sites, and 1 online classified. And how did we track? In Q1, we only purchased about 1/3 of the video production equipment on the list, and we saved that capital. The strategy was to buy a little more with each quarter as revenues increased. Office furniture was scavenged from my own home and the discount section at IKEA. Supplies were kept to a minimum until we moved into a work share and eventually into a dedicated office. What did we learn? Number 1, generic versus brand name saved us thousands. We didn't cut corners on lenses and audio, but things like lights and peripherals and other bits of electronic equipment made by generic companies were just as good at the brand names. And then number 2, I personally love Kijiji and Craigslist. My background is Scottish, so naturally, I'm pretty cheap. Now, I've used these sites to furnish my life for years, and that approach helped with this project. Not going overboard and being smart about purchasing became vital later in the year when that capital was greatly needed. Were there any curveballs? Essential accessories for equipment that wasn't in the original plan ate up money. Now, I thought I could get by longer without using a RAID drive, but that turned out to be pretty insane. All the solid-state drives in the world really didn't make a dent in the time saving that came from forking over the money and getting a proper LaCie drive. So now we're into the next quarter, Q2. laying the foundation.